That's the point of discipline and correction of a child. It's not to punish them, but it's to remind them when you sin, you cause pain to others, you cause pain to God. That's going to bring some pain to you. And it is honestly part of the discipleship process.
Setting aside the eye for an eye parenting philosophy on display here, it is wild that Mark Driscoll appears to be very concerned that people understand the way their sin causes pain in the lives of others. If you don't know who he is, he was a megachurch pastor out in the Seattle area. Over 40 of the elders in his church attempted to hold him accountable and under church discipline for credible allegations about abuse of power, domineering leadership, financial malfeasance, among other things. He received no accountability. He left the state and started a new church in Arizona where he continues to platform himself and profit off of similar ministry philosophies, which really raises interesting questions about whether pastors or parents or anyone who positions themselves as an agent of God to deal out punishment for sin in the lives of others really has the capacity to receive correction for their own sin. There's also some interesting stowaway theological doctrines on display here that are really common. We've talked before about how sin becomes this kind of catch-all for any behavior a parent doesn't like. And that's the case here. The idea that parents need to fabricate consequences to teach children that sin is painful kind of sidesteps the traditional Christian understanding that sin by its nature ruptures human relationship. There's not necessarily additional consequences needed. That is the fruit of sin. I also want to talk for a minute about his kind of passing comment that a child's behavior could cause pain to God. This is something that we heard from a number of adult children reflecting back. It was part of their spiritual formation and catechesis, that things they did as a child, maybe they took a cookie when their mom said they couldn't, they disobeyed, that they were told that this hurts the heart of Jesus, or that somehow hurts God's feelings, in a sense. This caused a lot of problems. It led to scrupulosity, to obsession about things which at the root often were just childlike behaviors or immaturity. Now, I don't know what Mark means by causes God pain, but even that passing statement really sketches the picture of a fragile deity, of a God who withdraws or is wounded or distances because of humanity's sin. And that is in direct contradiction to the historic Christian teaching of the incarnation, where God humbles himself and draws near to humanity in the midst of sin and suffering and death. And through his incarnation, crucifixion, resurrection triumphs over sin and brings about new life. I also want to do another stitch on this clip talking about how spanking is portrayed here. So keep an eye out for that. In the meantime, if you are interested in further discussion about how stowaway theological ideas about sin and atonement show up in popular Christian parenting teaching, you can read everywhere now our book, The Myth of Good Christian Parenting, How False Promises Betrayed a Generation of Evangelical Families.